Welcome back, Swifties. Very much looking forward to checking this out with our Taylor.
It's still such a mystery to me, even though I've been writing songs for so long, and I've started songs and finished songs so many different ways. They've gone through so many journeys. They've happened quickly. They've happened over time. They've been inspired by my life, by mythology, by fables, by books, by movies, by characters, by warnings, lessons, and they never quite happen exactly the same way, and I still don't quite understand how it works.
28 seconds in, man, I'm gonna love this. That's what I want to hear, man, is talking about songwriting, you know. As a songwriter myself, it is a mystery. Like, people believe all sorts of things. I wonder what Taylor believes. I know Johnny Marr and Noel Gallagher believe that the songs are in the instrument, you know. And if it's not working with one guitar, you know, just go and get another one. And I think Keith Richards thinks that they're in the air, you know. You just need to tune in correctly, you know. And you've got to show up every day, and it's like going fishing, you know. And if you don't catch it, you know, Chris Martin's going to get it, or Bono, or Taylor, or whoever, you know.
I have this very strong opinion that when you're young, you feel things on such a intense and detailed level. There's an attention to detail when you are like 17 to 22 years old and you're longing, or you're reaching and grasping but never holding someone's attention or someone's love or someone's dedication, and you can't understand why. You spend all day thinking about it. You notice everything. You notice candle ash on the cuff of the shirt and the button, and it's everything that makes the mythology of those intense feelings that you have. And I've always tried to, like, without being a completely unhinged adult, keep that level of detail and intensity when it comes to trying to describe a feeling.
Man, that's just an intense little passage or thought there, isn't it? I think I did as a child, as a teenager. Yeah, my attention to detail, I suppose, was it more? I don't know. I mean, I think I kind of lost some of that because of drinking most of my life away, you know. But maybe it is an age thing as well. I think it's about staying curious, isn't it? I think that's like, just because you biologically age, spiritually you need to stay young, don't you? You know, mentally you need to stay young.
It's everything. You notice candle ash on the cuff of the shirt and the button, and
these are just little clips, aren't they, before the interview?
That makes the mythology of
hopefully
those
there'll be some more
intense feelings
context
that you have. And I've always tried to, like, without being a completely unhinged adult, keep that level of detail and intensity when it comes to trying to describe a feeling.
Oh, okay, cool. So, wicked. So cool. So this, I didn't realise this is an interview, the 30 greatest living American songwriters. Wow. Are they interviewing them all? Does anybody know?
Feeling.
And this is
I started writing
the
songs
interview
when I
I've
was
always
12.
wanted from her.
As soon as my love for singing and picking up an instrument happened, songwriting just spontaneously started becoming the entire cornerstone of my life.
I was writing songs before I could even play instruments, I think, like years before I could even play anything.
I think the first songs that I fell in love with was the type of songwriting that I think folk and country is really kind of known for. Yeah. It's like that story time structure. Songs like Harper Valley PTA or Goodbye Earl by the Dixie Chicks, or like,
don't know those songs.
Any amazing Kenny Chesney song where, like, you know, a hypothetical structure would be, you know, first verse, little girl, you know, learns a lesson that in the chorus her mom teaches her about. Then the little girl grows up and now she's a teenager and she realizes, oh my God, my mom was right about this. Now the second time you hear the hook, that same hook means something a little bit different because she's like grown up in her life. Then the bridge, maybe she goes on in her life. She has a little girl. She imparts that wisdom onto her. And then if you really want to get me to cry, like bring back that same first line of the song and end the song with it.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
So that was the first thing that made me think it's got to be country music.
Take a deep breath as you walk through the doors.
That was the first type that I really fell in love with. But then lyricism, I was the most intensely impacted by emo music. Right? Dashboard Confessional, Chris Carrabba, Fall Out Boy, Pete Wentz's lyrics, how they take a common phrase and then they just twist the knife of it, right? Like, I'm just a notch in your bedpost, but you're just a line in a song. Drop a heart, break a name, right? Like, it's drop a name, break a heart.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I think it's just wordplay, isn't it? I love wordplay. Yeah. The emo thing's interesting, isn't it? I think maybe because I'm 3 years older than Taylor, I do remember the emo thing sort of happening. I remember that, was it Number One with a Bullet? Was that the song? That was the first song I remember hearing that I thought, oh, is that what emo is? Is that what people are talking about? I'm not even sure who that's by. And like, it seemed to me at the time that kind of music was a progression on what would it be called? Like new punk, like Blink 182, Sum 41, those kinds of bands. What do you think?
Bedpost, but you're just a line in a song. Drop a heart, break a name, right? Like, it's drop a name, break a heart. But they switched it, and those are the kind of lyrics where I would read the lyrics to those songs, or the specificity of Hands Down by Dashboard Confessional, where I
haven't heard of those dudes.
And I just finish reading a line and just go, oh my God. I got a publishing deal when I was 14. I was signed by a guy named Arthur Buenavida at Sony, and he just believed that I had a perspective that mattered. And I actually asked him if he could please hold my songs from being pitched to other artists. I was like, just give me some time to try to get a record deal. I'm gonna try so hard. I could almost compare it to the Brill Building. They have these offices on Music Row, or at least they had a lot of them then, that were like these small houses, these like cottages and bungalows. Now we have really tall buildings. Basically, you'd go there and there'd be 3 songwriters writing in this room, 3 songwriters in this room, 4 in this room, 2 in this room.
Wow.
And I would just go to school, then my mom would drive me downtown 30 minutes, and I would go and I'd have a songwriting session with someone that I'd never met before.
Wow.
I really didn't want to come in unprepared, so I'd walk in with 4 to 5 nearly finished things, 2 half-finished things, 10 hooks, because I just never wanted people to be like, yeah, there's this like little kid that thinks she can swan her way into Music Row and just like write songs with these hit songwriters.
Yeah,
But I think one of my favorite
it's amazing
things about
Isn't it amazing how she was even there in the first place, you know? And I don't think I've ever really heard her speak about that in detail, the process of, maybe it was in the Miss Americana documentary, I can't remember. Did she go and play some other songs to people and they were like, yeah, here's what, a publishing deal?
Nashville music scene, country music and the storytelling where it was when I arrived there. There was almost this tradition of sort of breaking the fourth wall, making the song then a part of the song, or the writing of the song becomes a part of the song. And I did that in a song called Tim McGraw, where, you know, I'm singing about this kind of love lost and hoping that person thinks of me, and then in the bridge it's revealed that I wrote this song and I hope he hears it. The song Our Song, which I still love so much, it's all about this romance and this relationship, and then in the end it says, I grabbed a pen and an old napkin and I wrote down our song. So I loved doing that.
I love that. I do enjoy that in TV shows, episodes. Did anyone watch that? Spoiler, that's kind of how it works out in the end, I think. Tenacious D as well, Tribute. Is that the same thing? I don't know, but it's a good song, isn't it?
Doing that, the kind of just like, and it was me.
I grabbed a pen and an old napkin and I wrote down
My favorite end plot twist, I think, that I've done in songwriting is the ending of The Last Great American Dynasty. That's my favorite one. It is just so much fun to tell this story about this real woman who lived in history and she defied the social norms and she drove people crazy and she had a marvelous time ruining everything. And you talk about the house she lived in on the coast. And basically then in the end, you're like, you know, she moved away from Holiday House. It sat quietly on that beach, free of women with madness, their men and bad habits, and then it was bought by me. And you're like, every time I get to that part when I would sing it on tour,
Man, I think
just,
I've missed that. I missed
have
that
to kind of,
resolution. I haven't listened to that song enough. It's a
I
good tune,
wanted
isn't it?
my grin to go from here to here, but that looks crazy. So it's like I had to taper down my own excitement that hook happened. I learned you can't ever really tell if other people are gonna like it, but oftentimes when I love it to a certain degree, that kind of tends to match up with people. And it could be that it doesn't match up with the way people feel till six years later. I loved the Reputation album. I was like, you guys say what you want. I know what I did. I love it. Like, go with God, sorry. Like, you can come around if you want. It's okay if you don't. And then, 6 or 7 years later, people are like, oh my God, like, ready for it. Like, people slept on that song.
It's a magical thing. I'm always banging on about what makes songs great, aren't I? But the audience, I think, is the difference between a good song and a great song. How it's received, how it transforms into something else. And maybe some songs do take years or decades sometimes to be fully appreciated. But I guess as a writer, well, so I've heard many writers say, you kind of get an idea, what's going to be successful and stuff, but you don't know, do you? And songs take on lives of their own. Don't Look Back in Anger, I think, would be a great example of that. Maggie May by Rod Stewart, that was a B-side that the DJ played the wrong side of the record by accident, I think. I don't think that's just an urban myth. And when you think of Rod Stewart, you think Maggie May, right?
Are you ready for it?
When we were making that song, I just remember I wanted to headbang myself through a wall. I felt that when we wrote Ready for It. I felt that way during writing Getaway Car. I felt that way. I think the first time I felt like I don't care if people hate this because I love it so much was when I wrote the song Love Story when I was 17.
Perfect.
Sitting in my bedroom.
Cool. That's what you need, isn't it, man? That attitude.
They wouldn't let me go on a date with a guy who was too old, so I shouldn't have been on a date with him. This is why you need to discipline your kids, because they might write songs. Go number one. When I wrote Speak Now, I was 18 and 19, and I was coming from
this is going to, man, this is
like,
we're not even 10 minutes of the way through, so I'm about a quarter of the way through the interview, but it just feels like it's going too quick already, I want like 8 hours of this, Can we have like an hour on each album or something like that? That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
18 and 19, and I was coming from this big, massive moment that I had with an album called Fearless, and it had won Album of the Year at the Grammys, and it was the first time there was this big debate over whether I deserved to be there. There are always going to be little debates, do you know what I mean? But this was headline news. I was these discussions.
She's dressed just fantastically as well, isn't she? Classy, elegant, just proper woman.
Can lead to a really bad place if I don't do something to counteract them and to prove that, no, it wasn't my co-writers that did all this work. And yes, I am the author of this entire body of work that I was very proud of. I'd written so many songs alone, and I love collaboration. I love co-writers, but it's not something that I needed. It's when I started to trust myself as an editor, because a lot of what I'll do in a session, even now, And one of the reasons why Liz Rose and Jack Antonoff became like people that I loved to write with for albums and albums is because I'll have this stream of consciousness pouring out, and Liz would sit there with a notepad. But when you take that away, I just started, recording everything, right? Recording everything on a voice memo, because there will be times when I'm like kind of in a zone and I'm writing so fast that there's no chance I'm going to remember what that melody was that I did, 2 minutes ago that I thought was cool for the verse. That was a really important album for me in terms of in terms of becoming a writer that knew I could trust my own intuition. I have little phonetic things. I love alliterations. I love, two words that start with the same letter. Love that. I don't like to have a word end with the same letter that the next word starts with. For example, in the song Our Song, it was supposed to be when you're on the phone and you talk real low. But I was like, I don't like the real low. So it's turned into when you talk real slow. Certain words just like fly for me. And I think one of the reasons I like...
What was that? When you're on the phone and you talk real low. So why? I'm confused there. Why did you have to change that? Because it started with this...
end with the same letter that the next word starts with. For example, in the song Our Song, it was supposed to be when you're on the phone and you talk real low. But I was like,
the L, real low.
So it's turned into when you talk real slow. Certain words just like fly for me.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons I like to take either age-old cautionary sort of phrases or things that you've heard in books, films, kind of these classic lines, and then repurposing them, inverting them, or like redefining them in some way is because I sort of love the combination of modern vernacular and sort of old world or classic timeless speak. So in the song The Fate of Ophelia, there's a lot of sort of modern terminology and speak. And
Yes, it's really cool, isn't it?
The way that we talk now.
The way it's mixed together.
But there's also, like in the bridge, there's a line from Hamlet that I repurposed.
Locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key.
I really gravitate towards juxtaposition and polarity in a line, right? So, hey, what could you possibly get for the girl who has everything and nothing all at once? Our coming of age has come and gone. You take one word that's at the beginning of the phrase and then you take its opposite. Because ultimately, like, we are all filled with polarity, hypocrisy, these kind of
we are. Yes, we are.
Features and factors that make up our jagged personalities.
Isn't that's just a fantastic thing to acknowledge, I suppose. I don't know if everybody does acknowledge it, that like we contain within us, I think, infinite possibility. And it's conflicting in there. Is it conflicting in there for you? It is for me, man. For Taylor, I guess, well, from what she's saying, but that's the kind of human experience, I guess, in a nutshell, isn't it? It's conflicting. It's very interesting hearing Taylor speak about a process, man. We've got a lot of similarities, I guess. Well, from 2 years of reacting to Taylor Swift, man, never would have even thought it before I began. The similarities in the way we write songs, the way we think about stuff. It's really, really, really interesting, And she has... what has she done for me? Inspired me, given me confidence in my ability, Yeah.
I have my phone and I have this file where I'll just be like, I know I like that, or I know I like that word, or I know I like...
Thanks for watching. If you would like access to the full thing and loads of other extended content, Taylor Swift, One Direction, Miley Cyrus, videos of me playing my songs and others, link in description.